Let's talk about Bobby Jones. I love hearing stories. I love hearing family stories. Right now, you're in your den, and I can see there's a lot of Bobby Jones memorabilia behind you. So we're going to have to share this video with the audience.
Oh, glad
Um,
to.
yeah, so please let's take a quick tour of what you're seeing, what's behind you, because there's some things that look a little different than just photographs.
Some of them are, yes. Should I pick up the iPad or just leave it and just show you from here?
Just leave it and turn around and point if you'd
You got
like,
it.
but
Happy to.
please give a full explanation, knowing that it's a audio audience most of the time, so
Very.
they need full explanations.
So, audio audience. Okay. Well, audience, as you can see, I've got a portrait on the very top over my right shoulder of my grandfather. It is a replica of the famous portrait that was done by golf artist Thomas Stevens. And later on, President Eisenhower would use that portrait as the model for one that he did. Both this one and the Eisenhower portrait, of course, are very seriously part of the Augusta National. Well, the Stevens portrait is now at the USGA, but it was commissioned by Augusta National. Below that, I have a wonderful print of the 18th green of the Winged Foot West course in Mamaroneck, New York. And that is significant to my grandfather from the 1929 U.S. Open. My grandfather had a collapse of almost immeasurable proportions, and he needed to make a 12-foot putt on that green, and in order to force a playoff with Al Espinosa, and he made that putt. Had he not made that putt, there are many people who think, and I'm one of them, that it's quite likely that he never would have even won the Grand Slam. Now, there's something
Wow.
behind me that looks like a big egg beater. It's red and white. Yeah, that
Yeah, I'm like, what? Because it doesn't, it looks like a punching bag actually, but
it
it has the
does.
stick. It has the
Yes,
stick of a flag stick for in a hole.
yes, it does, and that's exactly what it is. It is a replica of the flagstick from Marion Golf Club. And Marion is, of course, where my grandfather played in his first national championship in the 1916 United States Amateur, and also where he closed out the Grand Slam in 1930. And so we use those at Bobby Jones Golf Course here in Atlanta on special occasions. And Whitney Krause, who runs Bobby Jones Links, the company that manages it, had these. And he said, you really need to have one of these in your home. So now I do.
Oh, yes. That's awesome.
Now,
That's amazing.
over my left shoulder, you can't see it, but that's okay. If you're audio, you can't see it anyway. But even if you're video, you can't see it. But there is a replica of Calamity Jane that was given to me by Jack Nicklaus in 1976 for the first memorial tournament. So
let's talk about Calamity Jane. I was reading about
yeah.
Calamity Jane.
Mhm.
Who, what is Calamity Jane?
Well, Calamity Jane was an entertainer in the old Wild West days, but my grandfather went up to play a round of golf in Long Island, and Jimmy Maiden, whose brother Stuart Maiden was one of my. If my grandfather had a teacher, it would have been Stuart Maiden. Jimmy saw that Bub was trying to putt with this very heavy mallet-headed putter, and of course was just hitting the ball way too hard. And so he had this blade putter that had Calamity Jane stamped on the back of it. And he said, Bob, you really ought to try this putter. Now, the story is that somebody had Calamity Jane before and had gotten so frustrated they threw it into the neighboring graveyard to Nassau Country Club. And I don't know if that's true or not, but Fred, it's like the Italians say, if it isn't true, it should be. And anyway, Bub got that, and he used Calamity Jane for many, many years until the face became concave. And then he had J. Victor East. Make a Calamity Jane 2, and that's what he actually used. I believe it would be in 1928, 29, and 30.